Now, I know it definitely sounds a lot of me harping on a lot of this so far, but please bear with me. I actually really do love and enjoy this book. And the other thing, which I will get into, besides harping on the Artificer and that one thing, is what I really love about this idea is the optional class features for the different classes. I am always a big proponent and a big fan at the table to give my players options, to essentially give them control and ideas in different ways that they can use their special class abilities. And the optional class features are just kind of like the icing on the cake. Like, for example, picking a couple of my favorites, there was the Barbarian, which was the Instinctual Pounce, I believe. Where essentially the Instinctive Pounce, where as a bonus action, when they enter their rage, they can move half their speed. And to me, that makes sense because a Barbarian is going to be wanting to get up close, get in the melee, and be like hitting things melee-wise as fast as possible. And so the Instinctive Pounce is that really cool 7th level ability where your character feels like their body is instantly reacting to what they need to do. And so when they enter that rage, they can just go. And it's easier for them to just kind of move the gap. And even then, if they're also using this in a situation to run away, this also gives them the benefit of running away, moving half their speed, then using their movement, and then maybe using their action to dash. And so it just gets into that like burst and that sprint of energy. Another one I thought was really cool was like with the bards and the additional bardic inspiration. Essentially, like you have a bardic inspiration that can also heal people when you cast a spell. And that's also really cool because that also gives the bard a lot more support and versatility, where the bard doesn't need to be, like, the bard already is supposed to be this really cool support. I think I'm also still just kind of upset that there's not a lot of options for bardic inspiration and for what they can do, because it always depends on, like, the subclass, which I understand. But I would kind of like to see maybe if they can do something more with it, like how they did it with the Battlemaster maneuvers. But, that's neither here nor there. Another one I really liked is the Harness Divine Power for the Clerics, where it's essentially they can expend a Channel Divinity and regain a number of spell slots equal to their proficiency modifier. And I thought that's a really cool thing in case they need the spells versus that, and sort of that trade-off. Whereas you can get these spells back, but the trade-off is you can't use that Channel Divinity. And I think that's also a really neat and interesting idea. Getting to another one, like the martial characters, so like the Paladin and the Ranger, I know for a fact have the additional variant / fighting styles where they basically get to pick, like the Paladin gets to pick 2 cleric cantrips, the Ranger gets to pick 2 cantrips from the Druid, and I thought that was really cool thematically because it tied in. The Rogue with the variant where they're able to mark things as a bonus action, I can see, and I can also see how that can get really wild really quick, because if a Rogue can mark as a bonus action, and any time that they have an attack that has advantage, they get sneak attack, so the Rogue can basically just give itself sneak attack. I know that it's not something like an assassin, and I can understand thematically why that would make sense. I can just also kind of see the combination of that going bonkers. The other thing that I thought was kind of interesting was for the monk, and one of them I think was for how they wanted to treat the monk weapons and how they wanted to give the monks ideas for, like, if you didn't necessarily want to be a monk, like if you didn't necessarily want to be a Kensei, they had like one weapon that you were really good with. You had the optional class features of like selecting a monk weapon, which thematically I thought was really cool as your dedicated weapon. But then I thought, but wait, you can already do this as a Kensei monk. You can do this as a Kensei monk and you have a much better focus for it. And then going with it, the ki fueled attack to me didn't make a lot of sense, because it just means that you can make you have to spend a ki point to make one attack with either an unarmed strike or your monk weapon as a bonus action. And correct me if I'm wrong, but monks already have martial arts. They can already do that without expending a ki point as a bonus action for their unarmed strike, and they have Flurry of Blows. I'll definitely have to look into the Kensei, but I'm pretty sure they already have something in there where a monk is able to do that with their Kensei weapon. But once again, I'll have to check. I don't want to give anything false information. The other two cool things I liked about the monk, and I'll kind of get into a couple of other stuff, is like the quick healing. Basically, you spend 2 ki points to heal a martial art die. I thought that was kind of a cool thing because it's manipulating the life force and focused aim. Basically, you spend this ki point to harness and like strike true. So for every ki point you spend, you get a +2 to your attack bonus to a maximum of 3, so you get a +6 on your attack bonus. That's also really cool. And I think that also gets into the fact of like harnessing that like pure concentration that the monk is supposed to have.